Well, greetings everybody on April 6, 2017. How are you doing on this very rainy, cold day? This is from Blacklisted News. Today is the 49th anniversary of the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. Why so many people believe the FBI killed Martin Luther King Jr. Published today. Source: The Daily Bell. The FBI is super sketchy. Questions abound over their role in various assassinations. Well, let's include the CIA, okay? The case of Martin Luther King Jr. is no exception. Today is the 49th anniversary of the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr., a man who stood for peace and encouraged everyone to not judge people by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. The personal attacks that MLK suffered at the hands of the FBI are well documented. Well documented. Though they sound like conspiracy theories to the unaware. Okay. The FBI investigation into King started as a national security issue, with the official stance of the FBI being that King was a communist sympathizer with close ties to card-carrying members of the Communist Party. On April 4th, 1967, exactly 1 year before he was assassinated, King gave a speech in which he denounced the Vietnam War, which the FBI took as proof of his communist affiliation. Then FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover even publicly denounced King as a liar and a fraud. Well, that's awful funny because J. Edgar Hoover is, or was, the liar and the fraud. Okay, he is believed to have also initiated a letter sent to King in 1964, accompanied by a tape from an alleged sex party in a DC hotel room. The letter appears to be crafted to sound like it was a disappointed former follower, describing King as an evil, abnormal beast. Well, that sounds like the CIA. The CIA wrote that letter. I wouldn't doubt it. But that wouldn't provide an explanation for how the disillusioned fan got access to all his knowledge on King's adulterous acts, immoral conduct, and sexual orgies. Only the FBI would have that knowledge from wiretaps and monitoring, from the wiretaps and monitoring they are doing, supposedly for national security purposes. Whatever. The letter concludes, King, there is only one thing left for you to do. You know what it is. You are done. There is but one way out for you. You better take it before your filthy, abnormal, fraudulent self is bared to the nation. King interpreted that last part of the letter to be urging him to commit suicide. I agree. That's exactly what's being said right here. Okay? There's only one way out for you. Alright, so he interpreted that correctly. So, yes, King interpreted the last part of the letter to be urging him to commit suicide rather than have the information go public. And that wasn't the FBI's last attempt to smear King out of the public eye. They attempted to get news organizations interested in his immoral behavior in order to publicly shame King and counteract his message. However, these campaigns failed, of course. It is possible that the blatant failure of the FBI's public smear campaign against King made them decide to go to the extreme to rid the nation of this troublemaker. Not that his words alone should hold much weight, but King's assassin, well, the patsy, James Earl Ray, excuse me, claims to have been the fall guy for a larger conspiracy. Even Martin Luther King Jr.'s widow and children believed Ray innocent and later advocated for him. So, again, he was assassinated by the FBI, the CIA, the U.S. government. Anyways, they kill the good guys, you know. They're just like JFK. They don't want anybody promoting peace. John Lennon promoting peace. Nah, don't promote peace or we'll kill you. That's their motto. Anyways. Alright. Ray stood before a Memphis judge in March 1969 and pleaded guilty to King's murder in order to avoid the electric chair. He was sentenced to 99 years in prison. 3 days later, he attempted to withdraw his guilty plea, claiming he was innocent of King's assassination and had been set up as a patsy in a larger conspiracy. He claimed that in 1967 a mysterious man named Raoul had approached him and recruited him into a gun-running enterprise. On April 4th, 1968, he said he realized that he was to be the fall guy for the King assassination and fled to Canada. Ray's motion was denied, as were his dozens of other requests for a trial during the next 29 years. James Earl Ray had escaped from prison in April 1967. The gun-running operation he was supposedly recruited for would explain how his fingerprints could have ended up on the gun that was left behind at the scene after King was killed. Ray died in prison in 1998 of liver failure, after officials refused to allow him to be evaluated out of state for a liver transplant. Another person even admitted to killing King after a large sum of money somehow found its way into the mix to support the assassination. December 1993, former Memphis restaurateur Lloyd Jowers says he paid laborer Frank Holt to shoot King. Jowers said he was paid a large sum of money by Memphis producer-dealer Frank C. Liberto to find someone to kill King. Let's face it, it was the CIA, alright? The CIA, the FBI, because that's what they do. They assassinate people. Okay, that's bottom line. That's what you call a duh. Okay. Alright, well, after 4 weeks of testimony and over 70 witnesses in a civil trial in Memphis, Tennessee, 12 jurors reached a unanimous verdict on December 8, 1999, after about an hour of deliberations, that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated as a result of a conspiracy. In a press statement held the following day in Atlanta, Miss Coretta Scott King welcomed the verdict, saying, There is abundant evidence of a major high-level conspiracy in the assassination of my husband, Martin Luther King Jr., and the civil court's unanimous verdict has validated our belief. I wholeheartedly applaud the verdict of the jury, and I feel that justice has been well served in their deliberations. This verdict is not a great victory for my family. Is not only a great victory for my family, but also a great victory for America. It is a great victory for truth itself, It is important to know that this was a swift verdict delivered after about an hour of deliberation. The jury was clearly convinced by the extensive evidence that was presented during the trial that in addition to Mr. Javers, the conspiracy of the mafia, local, state, and federal government agencies, CIA, FBI, Deep State, Rothschilds, Rockefellers, all those creepy people, involved in the assassination of my husband. The jury also affirmed overwhelming evidence that identified someone else, not James Earl Ray, as the shooter, and that Mr. Ray was set up to take the blame. Of course, multiple government investigations into the matter of a larger conspiracy concluded that James Earl Ray did in fact kill Martin Luther King Jr. Oh my gosh. What a surprise when the government investigates itself and finds nothing amiss. Unbelievable. I mean, right up here, the jury found Ray innocent. But the government did not. Okay, whatever. Rest in peace, MLK Jr. But even without the smoking gun proof that the FBI ordered the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr., the organization's behavior towards him was remarkably abhorrent. Using the excuse of national security, the FBI monitored him. But when they found nothing to pursue, they turned a smear campaign from the information they had gathered. Sort of makes you wonder what the government might do with all the information collected by the NSA, or perhaps has already done. Well, again, today is the 49th anniversary of the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. May he rest in peace, and may his legacy live on. Striving for peace. I'm all for that. Alright. Thank you for watching, everybody. Have a great day. Strive for peace. Until next time.